What's up, summoners? King Blair here. No matter how good a game is and how much you enjoy playing it, there is always going to be something that you despise about the game, and in some cases, it's often enough to drive you away from playing it. Well, what we're going to be doing today for Top 5 Tuesday, it's a top 5 things I hate about Epic 7. Now, I don't want this to be just a rant video of me talking about these things and get everyone mad and frustrated, but hopefully it's also a constructive criticism. I don't think Smilegator watches my videos, but if they ever did, it's that. And if not, at least it gets us to bond as a community about something we dislike about the game we like to play. So if you like the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and join the Discord server. Link down in the description. Without further ado, let's get right into it, starting with the honorable mention, which is the reason why I even decided to do this video. And it's going to be kind of like the slow periods that this game has, right? Now, I don't understand that every gacha game is going to have slow periods, but the collab getting pushed back really screwed up the schedule, because the past month, aside from Advent, which is something we were already scheduled to get, it's been pretty slow, both in unit releases as well as like things to do, right? Our RTA is down, Guild Wars season is preseason, all these things are very downtime, and we haven't gotten anything exciting, and it sucks because there's so many cool games being released, such as things like Punishing Grey Raven, Alchemy Stars, and all these other gachas that have been around for a long time are giving some amazing events for summer, some crazy events, things like Genshin Impact Summer Event, a bunch of other collabs that other games are doing, and we have a very slow period, and my enjoyment with the game is definitely at an all-time low. That's the reason why I decided to make this video. So that honorable mention aside, I understand the company's going to take a while, and it's out of their hands that the collab messed up the way it did. So I don't hold that too much against them, but it still kind of sucks that we're in such a slow period. But with that, let's get to the top 5, which are actual things that are for the most part in their control, and I personally just dislike this in the game. So first, it's going to be none other than 15% FRES in PVE. Now, if you didn't know this, let's talk about it a little bit. So 15% in a FRES is something that you may not be familiar with, but it's something that we've covered in the past before. Essentially is, even if you have 200, 300, even a million effectiveness, even though that's impossible to get, you have always a 15% chance to miss your debuff. Now, the reason why this is implemented, and it makes sense for something like PvP, is because there are some very strong control units. Think someone like Fairy Tail Tenebria, for example. If there was no 15% FRES in PvP, units like Fairy Tail Tenebria would be just absolutely disgusting, because you can actually get her to extremely high effectiveness, higher than your opponent's FRES will ever be, just because effectiveness usually has the stronger side, which means that essentially, assuming they don't have a Fallen Cecilia, or you don't have any grass unit to dodge, you are going to be getting debuffed 100% of the times. That can be very frustrating, and it adds a little bit of spice to the game, right? So 15% makes sense, right? In PvP. Now, for PvE, it makes 0 sense. Why does it make 0 sense? Because PvE is a game mode that we're going to be clearing regardless of if there's luck or not. There should not be luck in something that you have to farm, right? So think, for example, something like my Baiken, right? She has quite a few effectiveness, right? She only needs 70% to actually be able to land on the boss. Right now, she has over effectiveness, but if I had over effectiveness, I should be able to be landing my debuffs 100% of the time. The thing is, that is not the case. Why is that not the case? Because there is innate 15%. No matter how high my effectiveness is, this will always happen. And this really stinks. I hate it. It makes 0 sense. The reason for this is things like Wyvern, right? Something we farm every single day. There is no reason why we should be failing runs because of this. This is the reason why you can never truly have a 100% Wyvern team, right? And the reason it makes no sense to me is because their reasoning for us having 15% is the fact that, oh, you can just repeat the stage. And my thing, it's like, okay, as far as Wyvern, we're already gated by something like energy, right? There is no reason that they need to slow us down like 1 or 2 minutes of our lives every time a run is failed, just because, oh, it would ruin the economy. What are we talking about? You already have energy as a time gate, right? If people are paying to play more Wyvern, they're still going to be playing just as much more Wyvern as the lower players. That makes 0 sense. That is not, no, that just doesn't make any sense, right? It makes no sense why it's in Wyvern. And the place where it's the most egregious, where it really irks me, is something like Abyss. If you've had the joy of playing Abyss, you've probably been in the situation where the only reason you failed a stage is because you missed a debuff. 102 being probably the I hate this stage, and it makes me want to punch the developer that actually made this. But essentially, if you miss a debuff, you could lose in Abyss run. And Abyss is not something that is quick, right? It takes a very long time. Imagine spending 30 minutes getting to the bosses, getting to the final boss, getting to the last level of health. All you need is your poison to land, and you will have won. And you attack with your unit, you attack with your Curious, and resist it. GG. You lose. Go do it again, 30 minutes with the exact same team. Right? There's no reason for that. No reason, right? You could argue that, okay, maybe, they want you not to build teams that rely on luck. Well, for stage 1 or 2, there is no other way to clear the stage without landing poisons, right? Even the CR manipulation method requires you to land some of your poisons, right? So there is always any chance you're going to fail the stage no matter what. And the thing about it is they mentioned that newer content would not have this 15%. Well, I don't know what new content we're getting, but the new content that we recently just got, which was the side story, still has this, which is in epic and in hard difficulty. People are still losing runs because of this 15% in an FRES. It was a very fun time creating teams for this, but you eventually have to farm it, right? And you have to do it multiple times. It makes no sense why we need to have that RNG chance of failing just to waste our time, right? That just doesn't make sense to me. PvE 15% FRES and PvE makes no sense. It should be deleted. But now you get an idea of the things that are starting to grind my gears. And man, I'm already getting heated. Honestly, I could make a full video on every single one of these, so I'm trying really hard to keep it to the topic. But overall, it should just not exist. I hope in the future for new content they don't do it. I understand it's hard from a coding standpoint to take it off of all the different content. So I will try to give them the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't know too much about computer science, and assume that it's just very difficult for them to remove it in old content, but new content should not have this. So they kind of messed up on that aspect. Now, as far as the next one, number 4, we have Arena. Now, this is just a game mode that, to me, it's just not fun. Now, if you're someone that likes Arena, well, that's great. I'm very happy for you that you can enjoy this game mode. The reason why I don't like it is because this is a game mode that, for all the PvP that we have, it has the best rewards. So it's something that you should do quite frequently, right? The thing I dislike about this is that the average fight takes about 5 minutes. The defenses start kind of blending the same. I only rotate between 10 units. Once you get higher up, you eventually just use a team that's around 10 units, and you essentially run the exact same team against slightly different defenses over and over and over again, and your defense has to survive and hope that you don't just get clapped and drop back down to Challenger. Now, recently, I had the joy of having to fall to Challenger, and it took me 96 fights to get back up, and that was with a decent win rate for my defense. 30%, nothing crazy, but it was enough to let me climb. But 89 times, each one taking anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, depending if you can cleave or not, because the whole point higher up, especially during rush hour, is to stall, right? So it's to waste time. These 96 fights was about an hour to an hour and a half per day, right? And if I'm trying to get the rewards, I'm doing this every single day. That means I'm doing 2 hours of essentially the exact same teams over and over and over again just to try to get these rewards. And it is just so frustrating to have to do that, even if I have ridiculous defense rate. And once you get to champion, it's a lot easier to hold. If I don't attack, I shouldn't drop too much. It's a little bit weird that I've gotten hit already 2 times this early in the week. But for the most part, I mean, again, it feels so repetitive. Right, this content is very repetitive and it doesn't feel like true PvP. And the thing about it is, aside from the unknown opponent, we have not had a chance to do anything new for Arena. There's still no replay function, right? So I can't really see, I can see the team at least that they're beating me with, but I can't see this to try to make a better defense, right? That'd be cool if I could do replays, right? I could actually see how people are fighting me. No change, right? The only real change we got into Arena is the fact that if you're in Champion, you don't know the opponent that you're fighting with. And honestly, I don't personally like this change because it doesn't have any effect until Legend. And I like knowing who I'm going against because then I can go against people that I know and it's kind of fun, right? But they took that away, right? So in Champion, there's literally like, it's the same game mode. It has been the same for 3 years. It's like they forgot about it and they're like, oh yeah, this is perfect game mode. There's no versatility. What I would like to see is something that, I don't know, rotating game modes. Maybe make some units stronger certain weeks. Maybe make some units stronger certain seasons, right? The rewards are fine. but the gameplay is just so mundane and tedious. I would also like to see the rewards go up, but the number of times you can fight with flags go down, although that would mess up a lot of stuff. But having to do 5 flags is definitely very tedious. If they could just make it more exciting, at least change the defenses so I have to change my teams and not just run the exact same 3 teams over and over again. This game just feels extremely repetitive and just very boring to me, and the fact that you have to do it because the rewards are good doesn't help a lot, right? So that part, I don't like her either. Now, for number 3, we have something. Again, we're going back to PVE. If you haven't noticed this channel, I am not a big fan of PVE. I occasionally will do guides because to me, the way I look at PVE is do the bare minimum, right? As long as you can auto it, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't build units just for the purpose of PVE, which is the reason why I'm not able to do the best PvE guides out there, mainly because I just use what I have and I just use the bare minimum. I don't try to test new stuff in PvE. But aside from that, there are certain PvE contents that, similar to Arena, are just repetitive for no reason and just get so grindy and time consuming that it's hard to consider them content. Now, I'm not going to be talking about Hunt, because the thing about it, every gacha game has something like Hunt, right? Every gacha game has something like that. Every gacha game has something like Spirit Altar, right? And Spirit Altar is honestly not too bad to grind. And same thing with side stories. That one I don't have that big much of a problem with, because at least we get some story and I get to get some rotating catalyst. What I'm talking about is that tedious, repetitive content. Content that was challenging the first time and ends up being kind of a chore, right? So Hunt, all that stuff, that's normal for a gacha game. That's no big deal. I'm talking about things like Hall of Trials. Hall of Trials, I could talk about this forever. So first, for Hall of Trials, why is there a waiting week? This makes no sense. It essentially just locks you out of doing the content for 1 week. It's essentially a downtime. It makes zero sense. It's not like the rewards they're giving here are game breaking, right? They could literally have this every single week and be cool. And they haven't introduced a new boss or any cool new mechanics, and most people just use Sarmia to cheese this, right? So this content, not really content, right? It's you do once and out, right? And it's just something you have to do. The other one, oh man, and this one just... This one's something that I could spend like 2 days talking about, but it's going to be Labyrinth. Labyrinth has been out for years now. And after you're able to clear it one time, normal and hard difficulty, it's a chore. It's legit a chore that I have to do, because the thing about it is I have to manually press to do every single boss, do the different things, take the time out of my time of playing Epic 7, instead of playing RTA, instead of playing Arena or Guild Wars, I have to do this and spend time doing this, that I've fought these bosses millions of times at this point, and they don't rotate. It's the exact same boss over and over and over again. I have an auto team for hard as well, and it's something you have to do because the gear's so good, right? But it's the exact same boss that you just sit there, watch your team run, and call it a day. It's super repetitive for no reason, right? Why do I have to do this every single week and every single month, right? At least rotate the bosses out. Right, when Raid was first introduced, I was very excited because I was like, hey, maybe we'll get like every 3 months, they'll rotate the bosses out to new bosses, right? So in Asimacon, let's say instead of Asimacon, we got like, I don't know, the unknown area, right? Like with the unknowns, right? Or something like Hall of Trials, right? Like you can fight the Hall of Trials bosses or something like that, right? Something that rotates. So we get different bosses. And we're like, okay, that's kind of cool. And maybe they can slightly tweak their kits just so it's different enough that you have to use a different team for, right? And it could be every 3 months. Well, no, there's no changes. There has not been any changes for 2 to 2 years, right? It's been the exact same thing. No new bosses, no new content. It's just stale. It's repetitive. There's no reason for it. I really want them to add more of these, more challenging ones for later game players, that can also be something that is not as short. Like hard difficulty is not as bad because it's only 5 times a month that I have to fight the bosses, so it's not as bad, right? But normal difficulty, there's no reason for this. The rewards suck and you still have to do it because you can get Moonlight Summoning Stones, right? So that's the type of repetitive content that I'm talking about. Content I think was done well, and I hope they don't flop. Something like the new side story. I know some people are very upset with this. The only thing I would say that was bad is the fact that they didn't give anything to the early game players that they could do. But aside from that, I actually very much enjoyed this. It was something that was quick to farm. It's 2 times a month, right? And I hope in the future we change the elements so that it's challenging, like a cool thing every single month, right? That's cool. That would be awesome, right? I would not mind that. I think this overall is good content. I know there's something that I'll have to do for the early game players, but the rewards are amazing. It didn't take too long. I was able to finish it in like 1 or 2 days, which is very realistic to do, and it's something that's not bad. And I know it's not something, and I really hope we're not doing the same boss, because if it's the exact same boss next month, then it's gonna start getting repetitive, and it's gonna be like there's no excitement for this, right? But if they rotate between the bosses and tweak a little bit of the stats of the kid, then that'd be really cool, right? So I really hope they rotate between the 6 elements, because that's essentially fun content that I know every month I'm going to be getting some really cool content. And with the epic difficulty, I personally think it's a cool challenge, right? Same thing with something like the Dagger Sakar. I love Dagger Sakar. I thought it was a great addition, and more PvE content should be this way, right? More PvE content should be like Dagger Sakar, with something that is challenging that you can do that you're not required to do, but if you do decide to do it, it's kind of like a one and done. And as much as people like to hate on Abyss, and I know I hate on Abyss too, I actually think overall it's well done, with the exception of 100 to 110, right? For the most part, Abyss 1 to 100 was really good because it gives you something to work towards, right? When you're a new player, Abyss is something that you have a chance to work towards, and it's something that you do once and you get great rewards, and then you're done, right? There's no repetitive about it. It's pretty fun. It's pretty challenging. Now, stage 100 and 110 are bad because of design, not because of the rewards or the way that it works. I actually think everything before Abyss 100 was well done, right? And it's a very good content, right? I personally think Abyss is good content, right? You may not like it, but anything before Abyss 100 is good content. It's challenging. It helps you work on your units. It teaches you where you are in the game. It's very good content. So again, another point, I'm gonna have to make timestamps for this. Man, this video is turning super long. I didn't know I had so much pent-up anger with some of this stuff. But yeah, that's the repetitive PvE content that I'm talking about that I really just dislike. Now, for number 2, we have none other than gearing, but not just gearing as a whole, low rolls. Now, what am I talking about? Well, if you didn't know, this is kind of a learning lesson for you. Again, we mentioned I don't want this to be just a rant video. I want you guys to actually get some stuff out of this, right? So, if you didn't know, gear has a chance once you get the gear, right? We all know that getting gear is hard, right? You have to farm a lot of Wyvern. You want to get the right substats. But even on top of that, not only do you want the right substats, you also want the right roll value. Now, this is something for a completely different video, and I promise it's in the works. It's going to be coming soon, .tm. But if you didn't know, for gearing, I do have a simple guide that you can check out in the help channel. Not in the help channel, in the guide playlist that I have made. But gear has a roll value. So say something like speed, which is often very, very important, right? So typically, you can start with a variety of different gear, right? So for example, for speed, you can start with 2 to 4. Oh, this is for the gems, I believe. Yeah, so this is for the gems. But for the most part, just know that you can have a variety of rolls in your gear, right? So you can start with 4 speed. You can start with 2 speed. You can start with 1 speed, right? You have a variety of starting roll values for your speed that you are able to get from your gear. But the thing about it is, let's say you get the godliest piece on this planet. Let's say you get a very good red piece that has the perfect starting stats that you could ever want, and it looks just amazing, right? Well, now there is a chance that you are going to low roll. And that is what really grinds my gears, that low roll aspect. Let's take, for example, this piece that I got extremely lucky, and it's still a good piece. But it is so frustrating, and there are other pieces that I can't show you because I already sold or reforged because it was that bad. But let's say for my Akali, she has this nice little ring, right? It looks very good. It is 18 speed. I cannot complain, right? I cannot complain. It is really good. But you have to realize this was 4 rolls into speed. Someone that got 4 rolls into speed could have had a piece that was the equivalent of about, what, 24 speed? But I get 18 because I low rolled, right? And someone that may be unluckier than me could have gotten a quadra roll and only had 13 speed if it was all low rolls. There is no reason there should be such low rolling in this game. You already have to struggle to get the gear. There is no reason why it should be any lower than that, right? So this is actually the roll guide, so you actually can see it. I found it in the help channel of the tab. But essentially, you can roll very, very low. You can roll 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Although 5 has a dummy low chance of actually happening. But because of this spread, not only do you have to get the gear, not only do you have to have good starting base values, but you also have to roll the right amount. If you don't high roll, GG, well played. Sorry, throw away that piece of gear. It's trash now. Right? Let's say you get a piece with the perfect substats. All low rolls into crit rate. Well, your piece sucks now. Good luck. It's just essentially like having a blue piece. That's stupid. Right? Especially for things like red gear. Red gear should not have the chance to roll 2 speed, right? It should be 3 or 4. The spread should not be 1 to 4 speed. It should be 3 to 4 speed. And likewise for crit rate, you shouldn't be able to roll just 2 speed to crit. You should be able to roll 4 or 5, right? There's already so much RNG attached to this. Why are they making it harder? Gearing is already something that drives people away from this game and makes it hard. And the fact that you can just lose good pieces to low rolls makes everything that much worse, right? So low rolls, just it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense, and it makes me mad. But now for the number 1, this one's very petty. I don't know why I hate this so much, but it is the one thing that every single day honestly makes me very upset. And it is going to be none other than Catalyst. Why Catalyst? Why not the Spirit Altars, right? Why not the Awakening Materials? Why not Molagora, right? Molagora, a lot of people dislike Molagora. Why Catalyst in particular? Well, if you see my box, I do have quite a few of 6-star units. But I also have a lot of 6-star units that are not max awakened and are not maxed out. And it's not because I don't have the gear for them. Someone like Ken is a decent example. I actually do have a decent set on my Ken, right? But the only reason I haven't leveled them up is not because I don't have Molagora. I do have the Molagora. It's because I don't have the Catalyst to skill him up or awaken him. Why? Catalyst in this game is not easy to farm, right? It takes a very long time and you're punished for it, right? For me, let's say for example, I want to awaken him. I need all these Catalysts. This, it makes sense because it's actually pretty fast to farm these. But for the Catalyst, I need 15 of these. I need 14 of these because you have to think of skills. And then for the actual Molagora or for the actual skill ups, you need like 30 or like something ridiculous to actually skill them up all the way, right? So you need quite a few, and the only real ways to get this is through adventure and through side stories. Well, the side stories, which reset every 2 weeks, and for this week we didn't get any catalyst, and the week before we didn't get any catalyst. So for the past month we have not gotten any catalyst side story, right? That kind of sucks, right? But even if you do get the side stories in the shop, when you go there, you can only get, like, of course this one is that one, but for this I think you can get up to 15. For these you get only like 7. And for the main big ones, you only get like 6, which is not even enough to max out one unit, right? And this is the main way you're going to be getting it for your units. And you're getting a unit every 2 to a month, right? So that means that every month, you're only really realistically able to do one unit if you're just doing the side stories. The other place to get Catalyst is from Adventure or just from farming. The thing about it is, again, if you're farming Adventure, and you're spending energy on that, that's less time that you're spending on Wyvern. And less time spent on Wyvern means less gear. Less gear means less rewards, right? Means less gear, which means less fun because your units suck and you have no way to gearing them. So it doesn't make sense why Catalyst exists. There are already time gates in place. And I understand time gates are necessary in this game, right? Things like Molagora. Right now, I think Molagora is the biggest time gate for a lot of people, and it makes sense. It's something that you're going to get over time, and you need time gates in a game to make sure that you just don't essentially have every single unit build, although then you have the gearing issue. So honestly, time gates really don't make that much sense, but it's understandable because developers don't want people just breezing through the game in like 2 seconds, right? They want you to actually work for it. But there's already Molagora, there's already Spirit Altar. On top of all this, now we got to do Catalyst. Are you kidding me? Why? And then if you convert them, you don't even get a 1-to-1, right? Not even like like I think you get 50%, right? If I try to convert some of the catalysts, let's say I'm working on all the Leos that they give me in this game. If they decide to not give me Leos, right? Let's say I need the Ultra Fangs, right? Well, if I'm trying to do it, I need like, how many is it? 6, I believe is, yeah, I need 7 to get 4. So it's almost 50% conversion rate. About 60 to 70. Which sucks, right? That really sucks. That's Oh man, I'm gonna stop there because I actually really hate Catalyst and it's grinding my gears just talking about it. But that is going to be it for this video. Again, I hope it wasn't too much of a rant and it was at least constructive, and I hope you guys can relate to a few of these. If not, let me know in the comments. If you like something, let me know. I did forget to mention, but Expedition would also fall under the category of repetitive PvE content. This isn't content, it's a chore, right? And that's just what it is, right? The first time the Expedition came out, it was fun for the first 2 months. It was not fun the second, right? Because it's just grindy and it's over and over again. And also, then there's things like Ottoman Tower to do really good. I don't want to make this video just to bash on Epic 7 because there's a lot of stuff that they do right. Ottoman Tower probably being the best thing that they have done. I've done this already like 10, 15 times, and I still love the Ottoman Tower. This is PvE well done. Everything else, kind of trash. Abyss, well done. The new side story, I personally think is well done, right? Even though I know that's an unpopular opinion. But overall, they do some things right, but they do some things that just make me so upset. So hopefully this video doesn't make you too upset and you're still able to enjoy the game. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I will see you next time. Peace.